It's that time, people. It is NFL opening weekend. We are here to talk about Bears versus Packers preview and maybe a little bit of a Bears seasonal preview to start the video. Big Jack, it's Bears football season. How you doing?
So much better now, man. I know we always post these at different times than when we film them, but it's coming down off the high of Thursday night football. I was on the wrong side of it, so it was a disappointed open to the season. I feel like sort of a square for the play that I made, but happy to be talking about the Bears, man. Right around the corner, we got the Packers to open it up. What more could you want?
Exactly. Let's start out with a little bit of a Bears preview. You know, if you look at the over/under win total bet for the Bears, it's at 7.5, but it is juiced all
I
the
don't
way
know
to
what you're
minus.
saying. Text me.
No, it is juiced all the way to
Sorry.
mine. No, you're
You're good.
fine. It's juiced all the way to minus 135. Um, it seems to me like if you look at the various Bear future bets, it's like Vegas kind of seems like 7.5 is their number, but they're protecting themselves against it. I don't know if it's because a lot of money's coming in on the Bears, a lot of tickets are coming out on the Bears, but it really does seem like they're protecting themselves against the possibility of like a Justin Fields breakout season. It seems like across a lot of places. I think that's probably a smart way to do it because if Fields does somehow take that next step as a passer, I think we're over that 7.5 number probably pretty comfortably considering our division's a little bit weaker. We should be improved on defense, especially at the linebacker and secondary levels. It's the area of concern is still the front four on defense, in my opinion, as well as some of the injuries on the offensive line. But we've talked about it. This is the year for no excuses for Justin Fields. He's got his weapons. He does have an improved offensive line. Are there injury concerns? Yes, but there's no doubt that the line should be improved. I mean, he should have a defense that, in my opinion, should be somewhere closer to average in NFL versus like the absolute worst in NFL history. And if you got at least a somewhat close to average defense, hopefully they can get him a few more possessions, a few more opportunities. Maybe he doesn't feel like his back's always against the wall to go out there and score 35 every game. Jack, what are some of your thoughts going into the season?
Going off what you said about the over under for the win total, um, I know it's the schedule wise, in the look ahead lines, and obviously as the season gets going, things are subject to change. Teams might be better than you think, might be worse than you think, injuries, a million different factors compiled into it as you move along. But the look aheads, the Bears are either favorites or pick'ems in like six of the first eight games. So that's probably plays quite a factor into that 7.5 and why there's, it's taxed pretty heavy towards the over. I don't know if it means much about a national opinion on the Bears and them, having a big turnaround season, but I think it's just a little schedule based in the fact that, like you said, they're probably protecting against the potential for Fields to sort of have that breakout year that everyone's hoping he does have.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's also last year they were in a lot of one-score games that they were on the wrong side of, um, and they seemed like a team that at least offensively was figuring it out. And if they can make some jumps on the defensive side of the ball, they should be a much more competitive team, in my opinion.
Yeah,
A
and
couple,
I mean, even in those one score games too, there's so many weeks where it felt like they were competitive, but you almost got the sense that they were like, I hate to say trying to lose, but
yeah,
I don't. It seemed like they were fine with losing.
yeah, it did seem at times last year like they had to have the fix in for the tank. Like they wanted that number one pick at times. It seemed
It's
like,
crazy.
but
Like, yeah,
it was wild. But hey, new season. We're 0-0. We're heading to Soldier Field this Sunday for a battle against the Packers at home. Opening week one, no Aaron Rodgers. I'm cautiously optimistic for week one here. Um, I hope you are too. But we got you coming with our three keys to get a Bears victory this week. Let's maybe start out with the first key that you got.
yeah. So right away, I'm just going to start off with. I kind of teetered on going one side of the ball, but I'm just going to go with the trenches for the first key. That offensive line, like you said, has been revamped. Darnell Wright, the massive first round pick, coming in at right tackle. Got a little bit of an injury worry. I don't feel great about Tevin Jenkins being out. I think he sort of proved to be sort of a stud last year when he's out on the field. So hopefully he's not sidelined for too long. And I don't, I don't know what to think about Lucas Patrick actually starting at center. That's what we signed him for, so he's got to go out there and do a job. But it seemed like Kramer was going to be the guy before he also got shelved. So a little worrisome going into the season, having two of the believed to be five starters are going to be out. You only got 60% of your line. Not to mention that Nate Davis hasn't really practiced or participated very much at all. But got to see how they play. Very interested to see the right side of the line. I do think Nate Davis is good. I think he's just kind of a veteran guy who doesn't like to practice. That's what everyone in Tennessee said about him. So we won't really know until Sunday, and he's going to have to go out there and prove his value. He's going to be right next to Darnell Wright. Hopefully Wright comes in as just a stud, a monster. I hope Wright's the type of guy he's jumping off the screen right away. I'm looking forward to that. And then Braxton Jones just progressing. I don't expect him to be a top 5 left tackle or anything like that, but he stays healthy, does enough out there to keep Fields upright. I think we'll be in good shape. That offensive line and the trenches, as I say, are so important because even though the Packers defense may have been disappointing last year, they're still sort of stacked on the defensive line. They got a lot of good guys, so we're going to have to keep them away from Fields when we're dropping back to pass, and hopefully the Bears' ground game can be similar to how electric it was at times last year. And then obviously, as we've talked about 100 million times at this point, the Bears' defense were literally historically bad last year as far as the front four is concerned. Haven't seen Yannick Ngakoue at all. I'm interested to see him. Excited to see those rookies, Dexter, that we drafted, get out there, do their thing. And they're just going to have to put pressure on Love. He's a young quarterback on a big divisional rivalry game on the road. Hopefully the Soldier Field's rocking. They're going to have to put pressure on him. And the main thing is, too, before that, we're going to have to stop the run. It's something the Bears did not do at all last year. Need that front four to step up, get that second level, fly in there, and make the plays that they need to. Stop them from running the ball so we can pin our ears back and put some pressure on in my view, sort of a rookie quarterback. Obviously, he's got some experience in the league, isn't a quote-unquote rookie, but it's going to be his first year with the reins. So in my eyes, that's, a big deal.
Love it. Obviously, I think both of us and most football guys take the viewpoint that if you can win in the trenches, you got a shot at any game. So yeah, I'm always a fan of starting up front in the trenches. What's your key number 2?
Key number 2, I'm going to go with something that historically has been a little bit of a saving grace at time for the Bears, but last year in particular was catastrophic. And I'm going to throw out special teams. We had some just abysmal errors with Velus Jones Jr. Returning punts. Obviously, he's not going to be doing that. We picked up that guy from Cincinnati whose name escapes me right now, but he's going to be returning punts. That sure-handed dude, what's his name? Whatever, doesn't matter.
Trent Taylor. His name. Trent Taylor.
Yeah, he's going to be returning punts. He was good last year with Cincy. Hopefully, he's the same for us. Really, I'm not even so concerned with him, having those game-breaking plays. More so, just being sure-handed, taking care of the ball. Once we get stops, making sure that we get to move on forward with the offense and not just having fluky turnovers that shoot ourselves in the foot. And then I know the majority of Chicago is very down on Velus Jones. I don't blame anyone for being so, but he's going to be returning kicks. And, I get that they're going to keep giving him these chances because, whether we like it or not, he was Poles' first ever offensive draft pick. They're not just going to abandon him so soon, even though he's like 33 years old. But I'm interested to see him return kicks. I hope he can make some noise. And by God, he better hold on to the football.
Yeah, I mean, got to limit mistakes. Cannot give away turnovers on special teams. That's going to be a recipe for disaster if you're giving Green Bay some short fields, especially with the anticipation that they should be able to run the ball. So if they're getting turnovers and short fields, that quickly can become a very tough situation. All right, third key.
Key number three, and I was going to do just real straightforward, just kind of make it Justin Fields. It's obviously a massive deal week in and week out, and just on the season in general, as far as that's what this season is 100% about in my eyes. He's going into his third year. End of this season, you decide whether or not you pick up his fifth year option. If he's really a stud, maybe you extend him early, like a lot of guys have gotten some contracts. It's all about finding out if Fields is good. I think that's what the Bears showed you in the offseason by all the moves that they made, kind of shoring up that offense, giving them the weapons that they did, going after offensive line early in the draft, bringing in another tight end, giving Cole Kmet his contract. Just everything they did was building around, we don't want any more excuses. Show us what you got. But I'll be a little more specific than just the obvious key of Justin Fields and his performance. And I'm going to say that in this game on Sunday, the Bears need to have more passing yards than the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
I want Fields to be throwing the ball. I'm fine with the run game doing certain things. Obviously, that's part of it. People like to say you got to pass to win, but you got to be able to run at the end too sometimes. And I just think that if Fields goes out and throws for north of 250 yards, I think that's a decent start to the season, and I think that that means the Bears win this game pretty handily. You can't be getting outdone by Jordan Love at home in your own building. I think he's got to go out there, have himself a day. We all know what he can do with his legs, and in particular, defenses know that he can do with his legs. So I think they're going to have to change things up just a little bit. Hopefully, Getsy's got some creativity going, and he uses that arm and shows that he can be the passer we need him to be if he's going to be the future.
Love it. Love it. I'd love it if we got an easy dub and Justin Fields through for 250 plus. I think we'd all be feeling incredible at the end of the day on Sunday. But I love the keys. We're winning the trenches, not making any mistakes on special teams, and Justin Fields is going to air it out for 250 plus, and they're going to outgain the Packers through the air. I can get behind all those keys. Those three things happen. I like our chances. I'm going to be honest. I still have concern about our ability to stop the run. I could see that being if the Packers decide to be just incredibly conservative and just run the ball. I could see that potentially being a problem for us, but we'll see. Hopefully, they prove me wrong and they can go out there and hold their own and run defense. That'd be a nice surprise as well. Any last thoughts?
Absolutely. No, I was just going to piggyback what you're saying. That's a 100% fair concern. Sorry,
No,
I'm
you're good.
lagging. Me and you are lagging so far behind in my screen. It's like everything is so awkward to
Okay.
see as I try to talk, so I'm a little distracted by it. But no, it's the Bears were so bad against the run, and like you said, I'm sure the Packers are going to try to run it to take pressure off of Jordan Love. They're going to be a little more conservative with their play calling, like anybody would be. So yeah, it's completely fair to have that sort of criticism of the Bears going in is whether or not they are going to be able to stop it. Um, I just hope that they do. I hope they load it up and they do whatever they need to kind of put the onus on Jordan Love to make plays instead of just letting the Packers beat him. Because even all those years where Rodgers was doing his thing, winning MVPs, um, Packers have always had a pretty solid run game behind him. So they know what to do from that aspect.
Well, the thing about it, kind of to your point there, is when they did have Rodgers, they couldn't sell out to stop the run because Rodgers would just beat them. So at least with Love, you can
Right.
maybe take more of a mindset. We'll sell out to stop the run, and then we'll make this young kid pick us apart, and you can adjust if he starts doing that. Where with Rodgers, if you sell out, he's going to dice you up all day long. So I don't know. It's a different element. We'll see what happens. It's probably the most optimistic I've been for a Bears game since the 2018 year, probably for an opener against, or I guess a Bears Packers game, maybe. Um, but yeah, I'm optimistic, cautiously. But if anybody's paying attention to some of my future bets and stuff, I think the Packers are going to be bad. And if the Packers are bad and the Bears are a little bit more improved this year, I think it's a winnable game.
Yeah, honestly, a little more long term. It's tough after what happened last night. Now that we're doing this post the Lions beating the Chiefs, but I really don't think the Lions are going to be that great. Even with that win last night, I personally was not overly impressed. Kansas City dropped the ball 20 times. They, for some reason, settled for field goals on the edge of the edge of the red zone twice. I don't know why they're not being a little more aggressive, trying to keep the ball moving in those situations. And then the fluky pick six off another drop. Um, so whatever. Lions got it done. Credit to them. I don't think anyone else in the NFC North is going to beat the Chiefs, but I don't think the Lions are that great, and I think the Packers are bad, and I think that the Vikings who had a lot of things going their way last year that I'm not sure are going to fall to them this year. You know, I still like the Vikings. I always say how much I like Kirk Cousins more than the general population. And I think Brian Flores, as you touched on when we did our little divisional video, is an excellent addition to that defense. So I think they're going to be stout, but dude, I there's a big part of me that feels like the Bears can win this division.
Yeah,
I think that
it's definitely not a scenario where you're looking at it and you're like, well, they got no shot. You feel like they got a chance. You know, they're not a favorite and they shouldn't be, but it's not like you're looking at a favorite that you're just like, yeah, there's no way over 17 weeks we could, pass them
yeah,
up.
it's so tight and competitive within the division. I don't, I think the worst team, if I think the Packers might have 6 wins.
Right.
Maybe they'll sneak to 7, but I think everyone will be in that 6, 7 to 9, 10. Maybe someone breaks out and has 11 wins, but
Right.
I really like the Bears to win 10 games, man. I truly do. I think the Bears go 10-7, and it all hinges on number one back there. So hopefully he
Wow.
goes out there and
Does Jack
does his
believe?
thing, dude. I 10 wins is that's what I see. I see a 10-7 football team. I think our back end of the defense is really solid.
Yeah.
I think Kyler Gordon's kind of sneaky a stud. I think Brisker's, solid. Eddie Jackson, obviously a little question mark coming off the injury, but he's proven to be a ball hawk. He was kind of back to his old ways last year before the injury. I'm still high on him. I think he's a little more mature now that he's been in the league for a while. I think he's hungry. And hopefully Jalen Johnson kind of just comes out there and is the lockdown guy that he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Hopefully he proves himself right. It'd be nice if he gets more than can double his interception total this year by getting just one more. But hopefully they make some plays. I don't think linebackers matter nearly as much as your defensive line. I think what's in front of you is what makes linebackers thrive. But I do like the signings we made. And I just think that Eberflus is a defensive guy. If he's worth any weight in his coaching, this defense has got to be something this year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's certainly out the door. So um, I just like Eberflus to kind of turn that side of the ball around. And, people are all about Getsy. They think he's a rising star as a play caller, the next hot young coach, this and that. So great. Go out there, do it. Justin Fields got to take the steps. And I don't know. I talk, I'm like you said, I'm a little skewed negative a lot with the Bears just because I feel like we've been burned our whole lives, really, with a exception of a couple random pop up teams, but they were just always excellent defenses. They were never because of what they were doing on the other side of the ball. And I think for the first time first time since Cutler and B Marsh era, I think we got an offense that's going to be able to really move it. And I like 10 wins with this schedule. I think they go 10-7, and I can see that winning the division.
Yeah, I could see 10 wins winning the division. I don't know if I'm quite as optimistic as you at 10, but I think they're definitely much improved from last year. And if they somehow start putting pieces together, start getting closer to 10 wins, I'll be a happy camper, that's for sure. But all right,
Yeah.
let's end it with a score prediction for week 1. What are you thinking, Jack?
Yeah. 10 wins starts with 1 this week. That's all that really matters. I think it's going to be Bears on top 31 to 13.
Wow, what a party that'll be. Uh, I am also going to predict the Bears win. I'm not going to predict that kind of score line. I'll predict 24 to 20. 24-20 Bears. That's my prediction. But all right, we both like Bears victories this week. Big Jack seems to be a little bit more optimistic than me. Love to see it, especially out of somebody who notoriously is not the most optimistic when it comes to the Bears. So that makes me feel a little bit better.
Haters will say it's fake, baby.
That's right. But till next time, make sure you follow our Twitter and TikToks at the Fade YouTube. We'll come live with some college football picks and some other general betting endeavors, and we'll be back next week with a little recap of Week 1 and a preview to Week 2. So uh, let's go. Let's get a Bears victory, Big Jack. One more time for the fans out there.
Week 1, baby. Let's get it. Bears.